What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Cornelia, back with another episode of Black News, a podcast where we break down current events, hot topics, and local stories involving Black people. Now let's get into it. I don't think I have ever thought that I would see in our lifetime a presidential candidate getting shot at on national TV. I did not have that in the bingo card. I think people really don't realize when we talk about history and we were in elementary school and middle school and high school and college, and we were taking all of these classes about world history, United States history, Black history, Hispanic history, Asian history, all of these history classes. I don't think many of us ever put ourselves into the mindset that one day we have the possibility to be a part of a historical time where people in later generations will be reading about and wondering why we did the things that we did, how the stuff happened the way it happened, and what the heck was going on during that time period. We are in that right now. From the moment President Barack Obama was elected, and I would even take it a few steps back. From the moment of, I would say, the back end, I would take it even deeper. 9/11. From 9/11, from September 11th, 2001 till now, we have literally been seeing a domino effect of things happening back to back over years and years and years that have led to one thing, that have led to another, another, that has put us right here in this historical time. Child, they're going to be reading about us if they have books in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And y'all also know history is written by the victor. So depending on who come out of this, is dependent on what they're gonna be reading and if they even gonna have books at all. But all of this stuff has dominoed to get to this point where in 2024 on live TV, we have seen a presidential candidate being shot at. Now, let me say this. Regardless of what side you on, I don't think anybody promotes violence, and especially gun violence. We are in a time where kids get shot up in school. We have tragic shootings. America is has the most gun deaths by guns in the world. We are a disgrace on the world stage when it comes to violence. So I don't think anybody is thinking this is okay. But I do see and have been hearing a lot of chatter and following social media that this situation will possibly cause a variances of outcomes. So let's get into that. Saturday evening in Pennsylvania, the former president was on stage and again in Pennsylvania giving a speech, and all of a sudden you heard tat 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 tat. The shooter was identified. It was a 20-year-old Caucasian man named Thomas Matthew Crooks. And there have been many reports after the fact. Lots of video, lots of audio, lots of pictures. There was apparently a rooftop 150 yards away that they did not have Secret Service or local police on top of. Apparently, some people in the crowd saw them on the perimeter and they were yelling out at somebody on the roof, but the police didn't do nothing. The Secret Service wasn't over there. Long story short, the roof was exposed and somebody shot. They also saying the former president wasn't actually shot. There was glass that hit the teleprompter and it bounced off and hit his ear. Some people saying he wasn't shot at all. They saying it was ketchup on the ear. They saying how he had his shoes on because at one point he was stopping to get his shoes. The Secret Service wasn't acting swiftly. They allowed a lot of space where his body was completely open and exposed. The former president was able to stand up and put the black power fist in the air, yelling out fight. They even dragged him over to the car and he was still allowed to put up the fist and yell and scream. So people mad at the Secret Service. People mad at local police, people mad at photographers, people in the crowd, news outlets, journalism, every you name it. Everybody, it's a hot mess. Some people are even saying that they think the former president is going to win because of this. And let me say this: I do not like how crime and trash behavior is always associated with Black people and something that we like and gravitate towards. I feel like I brought this up on Black News some many months ago, but why is it that somebody getting shot at is automatically related to the Black experience? I'm so sorry. Like, why are bad things associated with us, and why do people automatically assume if you also experience bad things that we just gonna rally around and support? So when people say that he automatically wins and he automatically is picking up these votes, honestly, I don't think this changed people's perspectives about voting. I do think what this does for his base, this will get them more excited to vote, which they were already going to do anyway. So I don't think it's going to do nothing to enhance him. I do think this will cause his supporters to be more reckless and violent and out and just outlandish with it, because we still have situations with voter intimidation. People be out there cutting up. So I honestly don't think it changed votes. I think it's going to change posture and attitude. I also don't necessarily think this will change an outcome because he's not a peaceful man. If this man were a peaceful man and he was shot at, I feel like the country would rally and be like, oh no, you had the audacity to do this to this peaceful man. How dare you? He wouldn't hurt a fly. But instead, you have people now dumping and pouring all of these quotes from the past where he was talking about and insinuating, inflaming violence across the country. So I do think that is going to be a part of it now. But so what do I think? I think the Democrats need to lean into his own rhetoric. You don't have to, you just lean into what he said about what he's been saying about aggression. Also, Democrats need to lean into this being an opportunity for them to start talking about gun violence and gun legislation, because everybody for guns, but are you for guns when it means your favorite person and your candidate getting shot at? People are even on social media saying that the Democrats should create a bill called the the ear act, the like erasing act to something revolving gun, whatever. They were saying you should create a gun violence act and name it after Trump, and then see and watch Republicans reject it to see what they would do. But we don't got time for them games. The election is literally like 100 days. But I do think the way to overcome this is to continue to lean into Project 2025 and talk about the harm. Continue to talk about abortion rights and reproductive rights being knocked off the table. Keep talking about the Supreme Court. Keep talking about violence, and keep marketing and pushing all of that narrative. Lay into JD Vance, which is the new Republican vice presidential nominee, and continue to push forward in that way. Because again, I do not think that this will make anybody come out of the shadows to vote. The people who were going to vote were already going to vote, and people know who they're going to vote for. It's just about picking up people who may be uninformed and undecided, or of a generation who's voting for the first time and may not feel empowered. But let me tell a story, and I've told this on Black News before, but I'm going to tell it again because people were talking about the reaction after he was allegedly shot at. Y'all know I've been shot at before. In 2001, in the summer of 2001, me and two of my homegirls were in a parking lot at a nightclub in Flint, Michigan. We were in the parking lot of JB's. Three girls. We left the club a little early because, you know, back in the day, you go to the hood spot, you got to leave early, you got to leave late. Otherwise, they're going to be shooting. So we thought we was doing something by leaving early. But we could not get out the parking lot. So we waited. We waited for the line to get out the parking lot. It got to the point where we were able to move from one parking spot to another. So we backed out the parking spot, went into another to wait while we were trying to get closer to be able to exit out of that parking lot. Two of us in the back, one in the front driver's seat. I don't know why one person wasn't, two people in the front. I don't know why we both got in the back. Me and LaRonda got in the back. All of a sudden, we sitting there kikiing after having a night of partying. I'm all of almost 19 years old. Gunshots started ringing out. They shooting up the car. I literally heard a bullet whiz between me and LaRonda's head. Literally, I heard it. I heard it burst through the back window and zip past my ear and go through the windshield. They shot the car up so many times. They blew out the back window. They blew out the front window. The side mirrors were shot up. The tires in the back were shot up. They shot the trunk up. The only thing they did not do is walk onto the side of the vehicle and unload on the side. If they would have walked on the side, we would have been dead. And had they, y'all, it was just by the grace of God that we didn't get shot the way they did, because they had to flatbed that car out of the parking lot. They shot the car up. When that happened, the gunshot stopped. Parking lot dumped out, emptied out, people screaming. We waited for a beat. We get out the car screaming. I mean, screaming. Because again, we are three girls shooting up, getting in a car that got shot up. Fast forward, people who did it, they don't know. We found out that some people we know found who did it, and they said, "Oh, we thought they was somebody else." Excuse me? And another side note, do y'all know the police? And I don't know if they followed up with the driver and whose car it was, but the police did not follow up with me or my friend LaRonda for a statement. They did not check to see if we were okay. They did not see if we wanted to press charges. They did not seek out who the people were who shot up that car. The Flint Police Department didn't do anything. I say all that to say, when it was said and done, I was traumatized for weeks. I cried myself to sleep for days. When I tell you I was in a state of shock like no other, because I almost lost my life. And when them gunshots stopped and I got out that car, I was screaming and crying. I did not think or have time to be like, let me throw up a black power fist in the parking lot while people are watching. I did not think that. It did not cross my mind, because I was trying to figure out if and why and how I almost lost my life. So when people say that they feel like something did not happen, or it could have been staged allegedly, or it's hard to believe or question the reality that they're seeing in situations like that, I can see how they got to that point, considering and especially as someone who has been in a slightly similar situation and had a totally different reaction. Now, everybody react differently. I'm just saying, I've been shot at, and when I got out that car, it just continued on to trauma. And I was traumatized so long. I was in therapy last year with my therapist, and I brought it up, and we connected the dots. I've been traumatized by that event for over 20 some years. So with that said, let me know your thoughts about all of this and how you think the election is going to go. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen, y'all. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, I am very active in politics, and y'all know I be on here talking and trying to educate the people. I'm going to volunteer for this campaign, because if it's one thing I ain't about to do, I ain't about to go down without a fight. You either in the fight or you on the sideline. You either on the menu. What's the quote that the first woman governor said while she was in office? I think I screenshotted that somewhere, where it was basically a quote that said, you either on the list or you either at the table or you on the menu. And I ain't gonna be on the MFN menu. You understand? So let me know y'all thoughts about it. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. So I watched Tyler Perry's new movie this weekend. It's called Divorce in the Black, starring Megan Good and Corey Hardrick. Y'all know I had to watch so we can talk about it because they was online talking about it. Let me say this. First, people were immediately saying they had to turn the movie off within the first 7 minutes. Now, for the sake of Black news, I knew going in I was going to continue to watch the whole way through. And I rarely turn off movies unless there has to be a really strong reason for me to turn the movie off. I can get through a movie whether I'm engaged or not. And even if I don't turn it off but I'm not interested, I'll just get on my phone and look at social media. It can play in the background while I'm cleaning up. Like it ain't like I can watch a movie. But when I turn the movie on, I understood what they were saying. So let me say this. It starred Megan Good and Corey Hardrick, both fresh off divorces. Both, I feel like, were well casted in this movie. Listen, regardless of what we think about anybody in their personal life, both Corey Hardrick and Megan Good can act. It was also a fine brother in there who played the little the new boyfriend, the side, what's his name? The side P. He was fine. But anywho, and that's one thing about Tyler Perry movie. He gonna have a fine and a good looking cast. Tyler Perry know how to get that eye candy up in here. So shout out to him for that. But those two people are fresh off divorces. They have been talking on the press run all week, talking about how Tyler Perry compensated them and paid them their worth. Y'all know in Hollywood that is very rare for Black actors and actresses to actually experience. They both have been talking about that, praising Tyler Perry. So we know Tyler gonna come through with them coins. Okay, we know it. But to the movie. So I watched the movie. Now, spoiler alert. And it's spoiler, but it's not. I'm not really gonna spoil it. The first 7 minutes were it was extremely outlandish. It was a Black family. They were in a church. There's a funeral. And what happened in that movie was so much that people were like, this is crazy. This is unrealistic. And I turned it off because people wouldn't do that. Let me tell you something. I actually know some Black families. I haven't seen that happen in real life, like in my own eyes, but I know some Black families who got the temperament. And I know some white families. Let me throw that in there too. That got the temperament and the personality traits to do exactly what they did on that movie in that first 7 minutes. And I think the difficulty with us and understanding Tyler Perry, because I feel like after watching this, I understand him a little more. Even though I still think a little bit, I think Tyler Perry needs a little therapy, but I might get to that later. I think a lot of people don't want to accept that some of these characters that they deem outlandish could actually have personality traits of people that are walking amongst us. And because we don't see them in our daily lives, people forget that something so crazy could exist. Remember that viral video went crazy on social media about that family at the funeral? And the funeral director, the funeral company, and the funeral home got so mad that the people didn't pay for the funeral that they took the body out the funeral limo and threw it on top of the car. That wasn't a skit. We really saw that. That went viral. That did big numbers. Them funeral home people took the body out the limo, the back, and dumped the dead body on top of like a random car in the parking lot. The family was screaming. People's fighting. They tried to jump the funeral home directors. That literally happened, y'all. So I think what is happening with these Tyler Perry movies, I feel like he is trying to speak to demographics of people who cannot see themselves, with the hopes of that they will see their own personality traits and their own families on screen and want to make a change. I really think that's what he's doing. If you take that first, I think he is basically like, I know my fan base, and I know my fan base got certain types of people in it. And I know my fan base need help. And I know they be cutting up. And not the whole fan base. I'm just talking about some people, y'all. I feel like he'd be thinking like, I know they cutting up. And I know they need somebody to speak to them and show them, hold up a mirror and show them themselves. But they're not going to go to therapy. They're not going to seek the help. Their pastor ain't going to tell them. They're not going to have the resources. So I'm going to write this story and I'm going to show them. I honestly think That is what he trying to do. That's why I feel like you be having these kind of repeat storylines or these repeat tropes, like the black woman, successful black woman who doing good, fall on hard times because of a dog man, and he be doing her dirty. He got abusive tendencies, and there's a knight in shining armor, which is the down home regular blue collar man who come in and rescue her. They fall in love. And it's gonna be okay. Somebody get hurt by the crazy man. Like it's almost like the Hallmark Christmas storylines without violence. Cause on the Hallmark Christmas story movies, them Christmas movies, big city girl comes back to the small town because somebody got sick, somebody died, left her the house. Maybe she had to find a reason to come back to the small town. Big city, she a lawyer, she a veterinarian, doctor, businesswoman. Big city girl comes to the hometown, bump into the guy she used to have a crush on, or the man that he used to like her back in the day. She didn't give him no time. They broke up. She moved up to the big city. He's still back home, cutting, chopping down. He on a tree farm. He feed goats or something. He a fisherman. They fall in love, and instead of the small town guy moving back to the big city, she give up her career and move back to the hometown. It's hey man, it was Hallmark. It was given Hallmark. And I'm not mad at it because it worked. Why? That movie was rated #1 on Amazon Prime over the weekend. #1. I saw a post where they were saying they were bombing it with zeros on like Rotten Tomatoes or one of the rating sites. I logged into Facebook. Guess what? Your aunties loved the movie. Your aunties, they loved it. Oh, that movie was good. I was just on TikTok and it was a guy talking about how he was like, we need to do something about Tyler Perry. Child, they was in the comments. Them aunties and uncles and them cousins and nieces and them was in the comments talking about, I thought it was good. I thought the movie was so good. Child, this movie was good. Tyler Perry know his fan base. Whether you know it or not, he knows his fan base. So if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because one, what's gonna happen now? Whenever Tyler Perry come out with a movie, one, he already got that deal. He got the deals with the studio, so he getting paid regardless. He just gonna get a little extra money on top of it. And then people gonna hate watch because they want to see what it's about. But then you gonna have actual fan base that be messaging Tyler, hit him up, seeing him on the street. Oh my God, I love Divorce in Black. And then you also at the same time have Black actors and actresses in Hollywood telling Tyler Perry that he is doing good for the actor community for them. So he's not going to stop. He ain't gonna get no writer's room. He ain't gonna switch it up. And we gonna keep watching it because that shit work. Same with Madea. Madea go to space. Madea go down to the Walmart. Madea going to get a pedicure. Madea, it's just Ernest, but in Madea form. Y'all remember Ernest went to jail? He went all them places. They was eating it up. With that said, have you watched it? I recommend you watch it. Not because I think it's a good movie. I knew what was gonna happen at every step. I was always like, oh, he gonna come and do this. Something gonna happen to Daddy. Yep, I knew it. Oh, he gonna go upstairs and see. Oh, yep, that's what happened. They gonna end up hooking. Oh, yep, because hey, but I want you to let me know if you feel like you see what I'm seeing in regards to why he's doing these movies the way he's doing it. I honestly think he's trying to hold up a mirror to certain demographics who have no other resources of seeing themselves with the hopes that they're going to be like, dang, I be doing that. We crazy. Oh, okay, we need to make a change. That ain't how people make changes. They're going to take their ass to therapy. But hey, whatever helps. But let me know your thoughts. Have you watched the movie? Are you planning to watch the movie? And if not, or if so, tell me about it. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. Now, speaking of Megan Good, she has been on a press run. And one thing that has been happening is she's been asked a lot recently about her relationship with Jonathan Majors. They've been really every platform she's been on, I feel like people have been asking her. And I won't say rightfully so, but it is to be expected because I don't think anybody has expected for them to still be together or even be together in the first place. I'm just going to keep it a buck. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Do they seem happy? I don't know. That ain't my place to say. She said they're happy. They happy. But they have been together quite a bit over the last few months, and in particular this past week, which sparked, or I won't necessarily sparked, but contributed to this viral moment that happened this week with Megan Good, Jonathan Majors, and Michael Ealy. Had the internet cutting up. I'm talking about cutting up. Now, y'all know Michael Ealy. Michael Ealy, fine Michael Ealy with the light eyes. Okay, Michael Ealy, the actor who be acting his butt off, who be in all of the movies, who can play the villain or the lover boy, whatever you want, he got it. But if you know black movies and you know black Hollywood even a little bit, you know that Michael Ealy and Megan Good have worked together for years, many years ago. I'm sure they are friends dating back to who knows. Hollywood, black Hollywood is very small. And people know people, and those relationships are lasting because is you when you and when you in a situation where you working at something, working on something and towards something that is damn near impossible to achieve, you start to build relationships. It's like these struggle bonds. These people start to become your true friends and your colleagues. You respect them, and then let you book something together, child. That's my dog. So Megan Good and Michael Ealy are friends. I do not know if Jonathan Majors knows Michael Ealy. Are they friends? But somewhere, somehow, somebody clipped a video and caught the footage of Michael Ealy seeing Megan Good out at an event with Jonathan Major standing by. Michael Ealy gave Megan Good the biggest hug I've ever seen in my life. Picked her up off the ground, spun her around, her fedora done fell off. She had to grab the hat. Jonathan Majors was in the background rummaging through his man bag to try to pass the time. Okay, he was going through his pocketbook to try to figure out something to do while Michael Ealy scooped up his girlfriend. Now, some people, and by some I mean a lot of people, had something to say, and a lot of people were mad at that. So let's dissect a little bit. Let me say this first. Child, that wasn't nothing but a HBCU homecoming hug. Okay. I'm gonna be getting all of them this in a couple months when I go down to the homecoming. That ain't nothing but a Hampton, Howard, Morehouse Spelman, North Carolina A&T, Tougaloo, Prairie View. That ain't nothing but a HBCU homecoming hug. I know a HBCU homecoming hug when I see one. So to me, I immediately thought, well, that's why we don't tell people. That's why you tell people to leave their boyfriends and their girlfriends and wives and spouses at the house. Not because stuff be going down, but because a lot of people do not understand building relationships with someone and being happy to see them if they are of the opposite sex, even though nothing has happened between you two. It's like a family reunion hug, right? Unless you know somebody and you spent 4 years on campus grinding it out in your formative years with somebody, and you have grown these genuine relationships with people, it's hard for you to understand hugging somebody. Hell, for some people it's hard for them to understand their spouse, girlfriend, or boyfriend hugging somebody or even talking to somebody of the opposite sex in general. But let me tell you something. I saw that hug. I said, child, ain't nothing but hungry. I'm about to get me 25 of them in October. Okay? I'm about to get 25. Now, I'm not single. I'm sorry. I'm not in a relationship. I'm single. On the flip side of that, I understand why Jonathan Majors looks so uncomfortable, and I understand why people are upset. When you get into a relationship, you do have the task of making sure that your partner and spouse is comfortable in situations. You do have to make sure that you're not putting them in a situation where they out here looking crazy. You can do all that you can do in that. You can make sure that they know that you have, you're friends with people that they might see. If you used to date in the past, hey, I used to date this person. You can do all of the prep work. You can do your part as a spouse. But the problem is you cannot predict what somebody else does. And if you watch that clip back, there was nothing Megan Good could have done in that situation, because the part that was edited out for social media, because for clickbait reasons, Michael Ealy actually dapped up Jonathan Majors first, which is what you do in respectful situations. If you are out with somebody or you see somebody out and they with their girlfriend or boyfriend, or let me make it more simple. If you are a guy and you see when your homegirl, but she with her man, you acknowledge the girl verbally, but then you dap up and show love to her man first. If you don't know him, you introduce yourself. Hey, what's up? I'm Michael. Well, it's good to meet you. If you know him, yo, what's good, my man? Give him a pound, give him a little hug, whatever. Then you go over to your friend, your homegirl, and give her the love that you want to give her. The difference is, and the difficulty in this is, as the woman in this, she don't know what kind of hug coming in. She don't know if she gonna get the side church. She don't know if she gonna get the homeboy dap up, the Obama dap with the loud clap, the bow clap, dap, one arm in the back, tap tap. She don't know if she gonna get that. Or in this case, she don't know if she gonna get Hampton versus Howard in DC. She don't know if she gonna get that. She don't know if she gonna get Hampton University Homecoming 2024. Okay. You don't know what you're going to get. And once you get scooped up and lift off your feet, you can't do anything. You just got to ride it out. Afterwards, you can have the conversation with your spouse. Let them know, yeah, I don't know why you did that. That was crazy. That's my boy. You okay? Whatever you got to do, you need to do. But there was nothing that could be done. And again, to dispel the rumors, Michael Ealy did dap up Jonathan Majors first. But let me say this. And I'm sorry, I'm still trying to figure out the audio on this new equipment and this new system I'm working with. So if the audio is crazy, y'all, I'm trying to figure it out. I can see it going crazy, and I'm trying to mess with the levels right now. One thing that happens in relationships, and one thing that men and women find themselves are having to do often, is to manage their spouses, their significant others' feelings, and to manage them and and what happens in regards to them in other situations. And as it relates to this, Megan probably, or any other woman in this, would have to now manage Jonathan Major's emotions surrounding that. Because I ain't gonna lie, he looked salty, and they caught some screenshots of him. I ain't like the way he was looking. I just didn't. But in relationships, you have to do that. And this particular situation reminded me why I am happy I am not in a relationship. Because personally, and we're going to make this a personal moment, Cornelia is no longer interested in having to manage people's emotions in that way. It is very difficult when you are in a male dominated industry, acting, comedy, writing. It's very difficult because, and let me preface it, it's difficult on your love life, because you find yourself in these situations where you're around men all the time and you build these genuine friendships with people, but people who are not in these industries do not understand. People who are not in that world, they literally don't understand. They be like, well, why you ain't no women? Cause ain't no girls around. These my dogs. Them my N-words. People don't understand. So you find yourself getting in relationships, and this has happened to me quite a few times, where because I have been friends with men, and because somebody feels uncomfortable about a hug or conversation or just knowing somebody, you are tasked with, or even asked, or in some cases flat out told, that you need to stop being friends with people because they are men. The same with some of my comedy homeboys. Some of them be in relationships, and their girlfriends be telling them they need to stop being friends with us, the women, because of whatever reason. Whether people think y'all too cool, they don't understand friendships. They think somebody wants somebody. They think somebody did something, whatever the case. It always happens. And I have been on the brink of almost losing some very solid and some long-term friendships for relationships and people that I just met months ago. And I, at my big age and having went through different scenarios exactly like that or adjacent to that and see it play out in others' lives as well, I am no longer getting rid of any of my friends for anybody that I'm dating. I personally am not willing to do that and will not sacrifice that. I'm very particular about who I choose to be in my life as friends. I am very happy with my friendships, and I am no longer willing to risk those friendships for other people. And I do not ask people to do the same. I do not ask people to risk their and give up their relationships for me, their friendships. Now, if somebody used to be kicking and they used to go together and they used to sleep together, that's a different story, right? Because if y'all had a relationship, that's something that I do not understand. You still being like, well, we still do hang out. No, but if somebody, that's your dog, child. Okay, cool. So seeing this Megan Good, Jonathan Major situation, a part of me just got a little sad because I'm assuming or thinking about the conversations that could possibly happen within that relationship after that, and the fact that now she may have to alter her friendship for Jonathan Majors. And I understand people's perspective and theory, but again, I made it personal and I was like, I hate that because I know me, I ain't doing that no more. That's one line that I have. But let me know y'all's stance on it. How do you feel? Do you feel like Michael Ealy was out of pocket? Do you feel like Megan Good should have done something differently? Do you think Jonathan Majors was mad, or what could he have done in this situation? And what happens now? Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts about it. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. On this week's episode of Black News, we talked about a presidential candidate being shot at a rally in Pennsylvania. We also discussed Tyler Perry's new movie on Amazon Prime titled Divorce in the Black. And we also talked about Friend Hugs featuring Megan Good and Michael Ealy. Let me know your thoughts about all of these topics, some or none, and I'll check back with you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode of Black News, y'all. Thanks again for supporting the podcast by sharing, liking, subscribing, and rating 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. To find more information about me, you can check me out at Cornelia on social media, as well as on my website, which is cornelia.com. And as always, thanks for supporting, and I'll be back next week with new topics and a new episode.